Now, as we know, the Inspector General report came out and Horowitz testified in front of Congress, and there were many different things that came out of this. And remember, this is not the entire report, because a lot of it has not been seen, not been heard, because they can't have this out in the open because it is still classified. Certain parts of it are still classified, and this is the redacted, modified version. And we know that Q told us that this is what this report was going to be. But Horowitz came up with a lot of things during his testimony, explaining what they had to do and what they found in investigating these individuals like Strzok and Page and all the rest. And we see that the text message sent between Strzok and Page, he's saying that they were incredibly difficult to unearth. He said it required a 4-step investigative process, and basically saying that the other 50,000 text messages, they were easy to recover. It were the ones that were deleted and that were hidden, those were difficult to find. And basically there was a database on the phone, I guess the FBI didn't realize this, that was recording all this information. And they had the tools and they had the ability to go in and get the text messages from this database, and they were able to extract those messages from the phone and basically get them to the public. Now again, why were 50,000 texts so easy to get and these were so difficult to get? Because these were supposedly deleted, and of course they went through all their phones and deleted everything that they needed to do, but they were found. Horowitz also dropped another bombshell. Now, while Michael Horowitz was testifying in front of the House Oversight and House Judiciary panels about his review of the FBI's mishandling of the Clinton email investigation, he revealed in Senate testimony that the FBI never named a target or even subject in Clinton probe. Not Mills, Abbott, Gambetta, or Clinton herself. Nobody was listed as a subject of this investigation at any point in time. So neither Hillary nor her top aides were formally under investigation by the FBI at any time between 2015 and 2016. Nobody was listed as a subject of this Clinton email investigation at any point in time, adding that this was surprising. The entire FBI investigation into the Hillary Clinton use of private server was a complete sham. No subjects were named, immunity was handed out like candy, and Hillary was exonerated before witnesses were interviewed, including Hillary Clinton herself. And when she was interviewed with the FBI, it wasn't under oath. So the whole thing was fake, phone, and false. And everything that we've been talking about from the past, it looks like it's all turning up to be absolutely true. Now, Michael Horowitz made another stunning admission during his testimony that James Comey is under a separate and ongoing investigation over mishandling of classified information. And basically, he went on to say that we identified numerous instances in which Comey used a personal email account to conduct FBI business. We cite 5 examples of such use in this section and include information provided by Comey and Rybicki about Comey's use of personal email account. Now, we can see that there is so much here, and the deep state is getting hit left, right, and all over the place, and they don't even know what to do at this point. But Grassley, Senator Grassley, noted something very interesting, that we have a 2-tiered justice system in the FBI Clinton-Trump investigations. And he noted stark differences in the investigations. Under Lynch, Comey drafted a public exoneration of Clinton before 17 key witnesses were interviewed. Under Rosenstein, no one seriously thinks Robert Mueller would plan a press conference to exonerate Trump before his investigators' work is done. Under Lynch, a low-level IT worker lied to the FBI twice about destroying records under a subpoena and got immunity. Under Rosenstein, a low-level Trump campaign associate provided the wrong date for a conversation with a professor and got charged with lying to the FBI. Under Lynch, Clinton's lawyers and aides who improperly held classified information got carefully crafted agreements to limit searches of their computers by consent. Under Rosenstein, Trump's lawyers and former aides got raided and hauled before grand juries. Grassley also stressed the breakdown in mind in the culture at the FBI and Horowitz's discovery that numerous senior FBI agents were being wined and dined by reporters against FBI protocol, which we discussed before. So we can see that we are living in this two-tiered system. And we've talked about this before, how there's one set of laws for us, and there's another set of laws for the deep state. And now they're starting to see this, and they're taking note. Now, the corporate media is out there, and they are making a deal of the immigration process that's happening on the border. Now, the question we have to ask ourselves, why are they keeping this in the public's eye right now? Well, number one, it's a distraction from the IG report, everything that's going on there. So they're keeping this in front of everyone, making it seem like Trump is out there, and on purpose, he's separating children from their families. And they're saying this is horrific. Oh my God, they're not being kept well. They should just be let free. But I think we need to go back in history a little bit about how this all started and who wrote the laws, who's actually following the law that they wrote and who didn't follow the law, and why this was all done. It seems like the corporate media left all this out. Now, to really absorb the history of this issue, we must analyze current year events through the reality of prior year events. We must look into the Wayback Machine. So on March 2014, final report from the National Center for Border Security was released. On June 2014, declassified intelligence report on UACs and Central America was released. On June 2014, Congressional Research Report analyzing the prior 4 years of Central America UAC unaccompanied children was released. On July 2014, internal White House and Department of Homeland Security communiques outlining the UAC crisis was released. On January 2014, DHS and HHS summary of the UAC directives to include contract needs was released. These reports are so critical to the full understanding of the border crisis timeline. So these are all PDFs, and I have them on the X22 report. All you need to do is go over to the report, click on the title, scroll down, and you'll see the reports where the links say here, 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 and here. Let's go through the timeline here, and I want to say thank you to Conservative Treehouse, who broke this whole thing down and mapped it all out. Great job. Now, on April 2009, after a Mideast trip to Egypt to deliver his Cairo speech, Obama travels to South America for the Summit of Americas. The summit included 34 South American countries. Obama wanted to promote his point that relations in the North and South can be heavily improved, especially after age-old ideals on immigration and commerce are dropped. And Hugo Chavez warmly embraced Obama and provided a gift, a book titled The Open Veins of Latin America. December 2009 to November 2010, 100% of all political efforts was leveraged to create an entity, the ACA, or Obamacare. All media oxygen is focused on Obamacare 24/7. That's all they focused on between 2009 and November 2010. November 2010, Obama is kind of shackled in midterm election, loses control of the House of Representatives to Republicans, biggest electoral defeat since 1918. January 2011, emphasis and political strategy changes, comprehensive immigration reform. Amnesty becomes the mainstay approach toward retention of political power. Throughout a contentious Republican primary season, to assist their ideological traveler, the U.S. media kept the issue on the front burner. May 2011, Obama travels to Rio Grande sector of the border to push for his immigration platform. He proclaims the border is safe and secure and famously attacks his opposition for wanting an alligator moat. November 2012, election year campaign using wedge issue like war on women and immigration, amnesty. Obama promises to push Congress for amnesty under the guise of comprehensive immigration reform. If elected, Obama wins re-election. December 2012. Immediately following re-election, Obama signs an executive order creating the Deferred Action Program, DACA, following millions of illegal aliens to avoid deportation. According to their own documents and research, this deferred action program is what the Central American communities are using as the reason for attempting immigration. In both the Border Control Study and the DHS Intelligence Report, the DACA program is mentioned by the people apprehended at the border in 2013 and 2014. And if we look at a chart of those people that were deported during Bush, during Clinton, Bush 1, and Obama, we can see there's a very big difference. During Clinton's term, there were 12 million deportations. During Bush 2, there were 10 million. During Obama, 3 million. May 2013, Obama visits South America, to Costa Rica, went on to other countries, and basically started to work with the leaders and have them send individuals up to America. Summer of 2013, numbers of illegal unaccompanied minors reaching the southern U.S. border, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, doubles. 20,000 plus reach U.S. southern border by traveling through Mexico. Media completely ignores this. Actually, we did report on this in the X22 report with the trains, with all these individuals jumping on the trains through Mexico, coming up to the borders. October 2013, at the conclusion of the immigrant travel season, White House receives notification that tens of thousands of illegal unaccompanied minors should be anticipated to hit the southern U.S. border the following summer, 2014. An estimated 850% increase in the number of UAC from 2012 was projected. January 2014, in response to the projections, the Department of Homeland Security posts a job notification seeking bids to facilitate 65,000 unaccompanied alien children. The posting outlines DHS and Health and Human Services requirements for contractors to fulfill this job. Spring 2014, with a full year of successful transport and border crossing without deportation, DHS begins to notice a significant uptick in the number of criminal elements from El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, which have joined the UAC to gain entry. So now we have criminals. Who are these criminals? Well, they could be anything. Cartels and everything else. June 2014, as expected, tens of thousands of unaccompanied alien children from all the different countries hit the border. June, July 2014. By the end of June, the media have picked up on the story, and it's called a border crisis. However, the White House is desperate to avoid exposure to the known criminal elements within the story. So July 3rd, 2014, Obama requests $3.7 billion in supplement budget appropriations to deal with the problem. Only $109 million is for the actual border security. The rest, well, it didn't go for that. Hidden inside a massive budget request is Obama's seeking legal authorization to spend taxpayer funds for lawyers and legal proceedings on behalf of the unaccompanied alien children and their families. In essence, Congress is being asked to approve the executive branch's violation of previous immigration law. Section 292 of the Immigration and Nationality Act prohibits representation of aliens. Obama did it anyhow, and it becomes increasingly obvious the spending request is to facilitate Obama in expanding the services toward all illegal immigrants throughout the U.S. The stealth nature of the request is brilliant. Once the funds are established and appropriated, the administration can use the millions of taxpayer funds to essentially integrate not only the unaccompanied alien children, but any illegal alien currently within the system. That is what was happening. And we can see right now that trainloads of these individuals were coming up here. Now, did they separate families? Yeah, they did. And there's actual videos of this showing that they did do this. Now, what's very interesting is that there are different facts that go along with it. Now, Trump, under the law, is enforcing the law. Now, the corporate media, well, they're manufacturing their own narrative, and they're trying to push the morality of the separation of the illegal alien parents from their children, and they're designing this to make it look like, look what they're doing, this is awful, everyone keep looking at this. In truth, Trump is only complying with enforcing the law, which is the constitutional duty and responsibility. When the media claim Trump has a choice, what they mean is he has a choice to ignore the law, as Obama did. That's what Obama did. There was a law that was there. He used funds to represent these individuals and didn't follow the law. Who wrote the law? Congress. And he illegally released untold numbers of illegals into America. Trump's zero tolerance policy is merely his administration treating all lawbreakers as lawbreakers, because the only other option is to let them loose in America with nothing but a court summons. So Trump's only choice is to separate illegal alien families. When an illegal alien crosses the border into the U.S., this individual is a lawbreaker. And like any lawbreaker, including American citizens, he's put into the criminal justice system. These are not immigrants. These are illegal aliens jumping over the border, coming into the country. If they want to be legal and go through the process, they need to go to one of the checkpoints. And guess what? Their family's not separated. It's that simple. Obviously, when the illegal alien is in custody, he is housed in an adult detention center. For obvious reasons, it would be illegal for Trump to reunite this family by allowing children to live in adult detention centers. Keep in mind that when we are this early in the process, we don't even know if this is a real family unit. Remember, there's a lot of criminals, a lot of cartels, there's a lot of human trafficking and everything else. So you don't even know if this is a real family. So, and again, most of these people don't have papers. And so while the illegal adult is held in an adult detention center, the migrant children, well, they're cared for in shelters run by the Department of Health and Human Services. Generally, the adult illegal is processed quickly, sentenced to time served, and the family is then reunited during the deportation process. But what is the corporate media doing? What is the deep state doing right now? Well, they're making this into a huge issue, but they're not giving you the facts. Basically, what they're doing, they want illegal aliens to enjoy privileges denied to American citizens. And you're saying, what do you mean by this? Well, when an American citizen breaks the law, guess what happens? They're separated from their family. They're put into jail. The American citizen is not allowed to keep his family with him in a detention center. Once again, our media want illegal aliens to enjoy special rights and privileges American citizens do not enjoy. These migrants are guilty of walking minor children through miles and miles of desert with the intent of committing a crime, crossing a border illegally. If you or I walked a child through miles and miles of desert with the intent of committing a crime, guess what? Our children will be taken away. Asylum seekers not breaking the law are not being separated. If you cross the border illegally and claim asylum, you're still breaking the law. Asylum seekers who respect our laws, guess what? They go to the legal checkpoints and they're not separated from their families. But again, what Obama did in the past, and that's why I brought up the past, he wanted these individuals coming over the border, thousands and thousands of them, because they didn't want all these checks. They didn't want anyone to know about this. This is why he needed the $3.7 billion, because they weren't doing checks of who's a criminal, who's not a criminal, who's part of the cartel, who's part of human trafficking, all this stuff. They didn't want to check to see if they're part of a family unit, because if you're coming into a country, you need to go through the process. It's like having a home. Are you just leaving your door opening and letting anyone walk in? Or do you have your door closed, which is the border, and you open it to see who it is, and then you ask them questions? Who are you? What are you doing here? Same thing. So Trump is correct about the loophole. In 1997, a consent decree called the Flores Settlement made it illegal for Americans to hold migrant children for longer than 20 days, meaning in order to keep the family together after 20 days of detention, we can either reunite the family by letting them loose to live illegally in America, or we can keep the parent in detention and place the child in foster home or with a relative who lives in America. Trump is wisely choosing to do the latter. Reuniting families would be a disaster for countless children. Again, the only way to keep a family together is to allow illegals to pour into our country. This policy would be a total disaster, especially for the children. If word gets out that America automatically allows illegal border crossers with small children loose into America just because they have minor children, this would only further incentivize those who engage in child abuse or dragging children along unbelievably dangerous trek across the border, or even worse, both exploiting them for catch and release and then trafficking them after making it into the country. Obama incentivized this family separation. Until Obama came along, illegal border crossings primarily involved young single men. Obama incentivized the idea of dragging minor children along on this dangerous journey through this policy of catch and release. And that's the whole history of this that we talked about. But Obama separated illegal alien families. Media didn't say anything. And once again, they're only doing this. Why? Because they're covering up what is coming out right now, the Inspector General report, and they're playing this up big time. So we can see right now they're continually pushing this idea that this is not right, but this is the law the way it's laid out. Actually, Obama broke the law during this period of time and used taxpayer money to do it. Now, it's very interesting out in Australia, as we can see in Italy. For the first time in history, the majority of Australians believe there are too many immigrants entering the country. Nearly 55% out of 1,200 people thought there were too many immigrants entering the country. And figures were up dramatically by 14 points from last year. And we're starting to see many countries are looking at this and they're saying, yeah, this is a major, major problem. Now, Trump is going to be withdrawing the U.S. from the Human Rights Council today. And Russia was already kicked out of here. And the countries that are in this are Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, Iraq, Egypt. And when you look at this, you can see that this is a major, major problem. And the U.S. was in there and basically protected Israel. Now that the U.S. is no longer going to be in there, Israel is on its own because every so often they are brought up with some type of human rights violation. And again, we'll have to see how this all plays out. We see the ceasefire in Afghanistan is over, and the president of Afghanistan, Ghani, suggested extending it. The Taliban said no, not right now. But what came out of this is that the Taliban, the people of Afghanistan, they realized peace was much nicer than war. And from different news reports, those who are being ordered back to fight, they really don't want to. And I think this was the beginning stages to show everyone what peace would be, what it would be like. And I think eventually what's going to happen is they're going to come back together and have talks. And I think this was the beginning stages. And I think this was all part of the plan. And I think in the next month or two, we're going to see talks again happen, and there'll be a longer peace deal. I mean, baby steps. They've been fighting for a very long time, and we can see that this was one of the first times that they had a ceasefire in a very, very long time, and people actually liked it. We see that South Korea confirmed that the two nations, the U.S. and South Korea, they are going to suspend the war games in the Korean Peninsula. We see that Pompeo and Lavrov, they had a conversation, and according to the State Department's release, the ongoing situation in Syria was one of the main topics of discussion. The two discussed issues related to Syria and the bilateral relationship. Pompeo re-emphasized the U.S. commitment to the Southwest ceasefire arrangement that was approved by Trump and Putin a year ago, and I believe there are other talks going on right now about getting the troops out of Syria. And again, this is going to be a slow process. They're not just going to flip a switch and all of a sudden everything is going to happen. This is months of negotiations. This is maneuvering and setting everything up and moving the pieces around the board to allow the troops to come home, just like with North Korea, to get those peace talks moving in the right direction. Now, Q has been dropping a lot of breadcrumbs, and we're going to go through some of these today, do some more tomorrow. And I want to bring us back to post 1483, where I read this letter that was signed by Andy Biggs, Ron DeSantis, and Matt Gaetz. And this was to Michael Horowitz, saying that they believe that the report was modified and redacted. Now, what's very interesting, if we go to post 1483, this was on June 12th. And we look at what Q said, it said full weight of the House versus ARM, capital A, capital R, capital M. And if you look at the people that signed it, 3 people, Andy, Ron, and Matt, that is the ARM. So the full weight of the House versus these 3 individuals. And I thought it was very interesting how this all came together. Post 1533, this was on June 17th. Q saying the anti-Q talk is about to go mainstream in a big way, and gave a link to Snopes, conspiracy theories, Texas Santa Fe shooting, Snopes building algo to now track and refute all claims as false. And post 1535, and Anon wrote, Snope is run by the left, anything but impartial fact checkers. The more they attack Q, the stronger we become. Q responds, review lawsuit, review GoFundMe plea, review financial disclosure, review information date, review initial investor, controlled, Q. And if we look at Snopes, we can see that the fact-checking website Snopes is on the verge of collapse after the founder was accused of fraud, lies, and putting prostitutes and his honeymoon on expenses. And we can see that there's a lot of problems here. And basically, out of all of this, there was 2 individuals. There was this guy, this woman. They were married. The man embezzled $98,000, and he then met up and spent it on hookers, had one of the hookers become part of Snopes, and basically this is how this company's run. Now, it looks like Soros has joined in with Snopes and is part of it. There's pictures of Snopes CEO with Soros shaking hands, and of course Snopes is saying no, this is not true, it's incorrect, the memes are false, and I guess they must be false because Snopes says so. And basically what is happening here is they were busted, and Soros, just like investing in the New York Times and other corporate media, he's trying to control the narrative. That's what it's all about, trying to control the narrative. Now, post 1534, Q wrote, for a LARP, we sure do get a lot of coverage. Must be all the original pics, bracket 7, close bracket, Delta Today, word for word, plus 7 POTUS. How many days in a week? Enjoy the show. And then we move on to post 1536, where it shows a confirmation. Q posts at 12:48, POTUS retweets White House at 12:55, plus 7 minutes. After Q7, word for word, do you believe in coincidences? And basically says Happy Father's Day. And you can see right now that this was another confirmation. Post 1537, Trump tweet, Q put up Trump's tweet. Why was the FBI sick loser Peter Strzok working on the totally discredited Mueller team of 13 angry and conflicted Democrats when Strzok was giving crooked Hillary a free pass, yet telling his lover, lawyer Lisa Page, that will stop Trump from becoming president? Witch hunt. Here's another tweet. The Democrats should get together with their Republican counterparts and work something out on border security and safety. Don't wait until after the election because you're going to lose. And then Q says, trolling is fun. Q. Then we move on to post 1538, and this says, this is June 17th, and it says the following. Public learned today why. What must be finished? Why still employed? Purpose. Lisa Page released after. Peter Strzok will be released after. Just because something isn't public doesn't mean the Department of Justice texts emails. And he gave a link to The Guardian where it said Trump CIA firing intelligence community White House. CIA down 19 this year alone. When will records be unsealed? Shock and awe. Projection. Attack POTUS Foundation. Acting New York Attorney General told to. Why? Clinton Foundation. Nightmare awake. Slush fund. Children claim. Political attack. Case against POTUS. Projection. POTUS and Russia. Why? Hillary Rodham Clinton, Hussein, etc. and Russia claim political attack. Case against POTUS. Pattern. Q. And on this post, there's a picture of an email from Zuckerman Spader dated June 16th, 2018, and April 27th, April 27, 2018, Q post, Peter Strzok is a cooperative Strzok witness. And June 16, 2018, letter to House Judiciary Committee, Strzok to testify before Congress, no immunity, will not invoke Fifth Amendment. Does that mean Strzok has turned? Very interesting. So Strzok's angle right now is saying that he would like to testify and he would like to set the record straight. Now, again, it might get him a lighter sentence, sure, but Q is saying released. What could be possibly say that gets him exonerated, released? Well, an anon attempted to discuss this line by line. Public learned today Peter Strzok will testify before anyone in Congress who will listen. Why? Perhaps he has immunity for singing. Why? What must be finished? Huber's investigation with regard to Peter Strzok. Why still employed? Cooperating witness. Cover to employed. Basically, they can't investigate him, I think, if he's not employed there. Purpose. Maintain cover. Lisa Page. Released after her involvement portion of the investigation was completed. Peter Strzok will be released after his portion is done soon. Just because something isn't public doesn't mean it hasn't happened yet. Department of Justice texts, emails, coming next. CIA down 19 this year alone. Anyone have stats on CAI deaths? A quick search did return much. When will records be unsealed? Soon, maybe end of next week or week after. Shock and awe. Well, we're ready for that because that means a lot of it's going to hit the fan. Projection. Cabal is projecting everything that's coming onto POTUS. Attack POTUS Foundation. Basically, they're going after Hillary Clinton's foundation. Why? It's their tactic. It seems to desensitize the public before the real crime drops. By then, they don't care because nothing came of the first accusation. Nothing to see here. Unfortunately, it's been working. Clinton Foundation, nightmare awake. It's coming, like you said. Child drop in IG report was a drip. Claim political attack, case against POTUS. They can claim what they want when the facts prove otherwise. We have it all. Projection, those who scream the loudest. POTUS and Russia, projection. Why? Because after 2 years of hearing about Russia and nothing has really happened, when the tables are turned and they are in the crosshairs, they'll claim there's nothing to see here. These people are stupid. See, when you have facts, there is something to see. Hillary Rodham Clinton, Hussein, etc., and Russia. Storm is getting windy. Claim political attack, case against POTUS. They are broken Mockingbird records with the same stupid tactics they've used for years. So, Peter Strzok is employed because the Inspector General only investigates and has authority over current employees. It's an internal department investigation. Peter Strzok has to be an employee to be included in the report recommendations. That's why he's still there. So the only interpretation is not that Peter Strzok and Lisa Page will be released, but their full text emails info will be released. That's probably the more likely scenario in all of this. So we can see right now things are moving forward and it's going to get worse for the deep state as it goes along, and this is why they're projecting right now. Now, if we move on to post 1539, and it says, this is important to remember, fired White House official joins Department of Justice at Trump's insistence. Now, who is this individual? Well, it's Ezra Cohen Watnick, was booted from the National Security Council last summer. Now he's back in Trump administration. With McMaster's out of the way, Trump moved to bring back Cohen Watnick. Trump personally ordered the Department of Justice to hire Cohen Watnick. Now, post 1540, Devin Nunes. Can anyone tell me who the Department of Justice lawyer is that speaks French via text in the IG report? This will save a lot of time in the hearings this week, so my colleagues won't have to ask this question. Well, who is this? Q wrote, see next, eggshells Q. For the record, it is Tashina Guarar. That's who he's looking for. Now, at the heart of the activity during the critical period is FBI lawyer Tashina Tosh Guarar, who was on video conference call with the FBI New York field office as the discoveries of hundreds of thousands of Clinton emails were relayed internally to the mid-year event team in D.C. on September 29th, 2016. So then Q put up post 1541, and he runs down the updated list here of what happened to all the individuals in government offices. James Baker, fired. Reported today, resigned, false, removed, January, fired, 4.21. Lisa Page, fired. Reported today, resigned, false, testimony received. Tracking, added. Mike Corton, FBI Assistant Director for Public Affairs, fired, cooperating under resigned title. Josh Campbell, Special Assistant to James Comey, fired, Department of Justice. David Loftman, Chief of the Justice Department, Counterintelligence and Export Control Section, National Security. Hillary Rodham Clinton, email investigation, fired, force. Sally Yates, Deputy Attorney General and Acting Attorney General, fired. Mary McCord, Acting Assistant Attorney General, Acting Head of Department of Justice, National Security Division, fired, forced out. Bruce Orr, Associate Deputy Attorney General, demoted 2 times. Cooperating witness, power removed. Rachel Brand, number 3, official behind Rosenstein, fired, forced out. Cross against House and Senate resignations, final term announcement, plus CEO departures. Conspiracy, fake news, the swamp is being drained, trust the plan. So we can see right now things are moving forward here, and Q continually gives us updates. Post 1542, June 18th. D, morning sun brings heat, full moon coming, undiscovered stars learned, missions forward. Now, this is not a message for us. This is a message for the Cabal members, those who are lurking on the board. The next full moon falls on the 28th. So let's move on to post 1543, June 18th. Money not security. Nuke development prevention. Own politicians returning to the news. The EU cabal is doubling down on their role in their plan, even as the populist right-wing uprising spreads across Europe. The European Union is taking steps to protect the EU companies investing in Iran from renewed U.S. sanctions on Tehran after Trump pulled out of the 2015 nuclear deal. Let's move on to post 1544. This is on June 18th. And an Anon wrote, probably going down the wrong road here, but Q post about sun, moon, Elon Musk, heat, moon, stars, mission. Don't know if the dates mean anything other than pointing to Musk. Question, anybody have info on Elon Musk? Tesla cars exploding? Must be someone who might testify about something. Anyone? And Q went, message not for Anons. So it was just confirmed that the message prior was not for us. This was for something completely different. It was for Cabal on the board. Post 1545, Q posted on June 18th. What a wonderful day. Eric Schmidt is in the front row. Google access kills. JC in brackets. Happy hunting D. Pain, pain, pain. So what does this mean? Well, Clapper is squealing like a stuck pig because the walls are coming down around him. He does not want to be caught in this treason and subversion, but he's got one last trick up his sleeve. He's trying to get investigators to believe that Seth Rich was the Russian spy working with the Trump campaign. Yeah, you heard that right. He's trying this other storyline here, which is absolutely ridiculous. And it seems like these individuals, they just can't help themselves. They just like to lie and lie and lie and make up things. And when they're found out, they just come up with another lie. So post 1546, and Anon wrote, well, it's pretty cryptic, so here is a wild guess. D. Just kidding, I don't know. Someone involved in the space program. Majestic 12. Morning sun brings heat. Full moon coming. Undiscovered stars. And basically, Q wrote down below, ability to share open, heat on who, full transparency, declassify, undiscovered facts emerge, ability to move forward, Occam's razor. Q. Now, this is probably a message to Devin Nunes. The heat lands on the 13 angry Democrats first, and all this helped along by Trump declassifying everything. Thus, the undiscovered facts will then emerge, and then we move on to Occam's razor, is basically just saying that the simplest explanation is the best. We move on to post 1547. Q posts a link to thehill.com, and it talks about Peter Schiff, deeply disturbed that Nunes received FBI information. Now, this is very interesting. What does this mean? Why is he deeply disturbed? Because Nunes has all the information. Schiff is panicking right now. He's nervous about this. This is why he's saying this. Post 1548, June 18th. Would you believe Hussein tried to call Kim prior, and this is a previous post that Q put up there, 1465, within 1548. Would you believe Hussein tried to call Kim prior to the summit? He did not have his updated phone number. North Korea general's release closed the pathway for bad actors. And Q went on to say, Autis catch the exchange, POTUS private calls with Kim, new number via iPhone. How did that particular senator know that kind of highly classified intel? So wait, what is he talking about? Well, during the Inspector General hearing, Senator Durbin got all out of sorts because Trump had two iPhones, one for his calls and one for his Twitter habit. Now, Trump having two iPhones was classified information. Durbin just totally outed himself on record. I mean, how stupid are these people? How did he know this? So we can see right now that these individuals, they're just blurting out anything right now. So an Anon actually answers Q. How did this particular senator know that kind of high classified intel? Directly with a name. Amanda Renta. And then Q corrects him. Amanda Rentiera. Bridge between Hillary Rodham Clinton and Loretta Lynch. So who's Amanda Rentiera? Well, is an American political aide who has worked for the United States Senators Dianne Feinstein, Debbie Stabenow, and a member of the Democratic Party. Amanda is the first Latin chief of staff in the history of the U.S. Senate. Now, just keep her name in the back of your mind for a couple of seconds here. Let's move on to post 1550, June 18th. Anonymous wrote, why wasn't Hillary Rodham Clinton prosecuted for the emails? Put simply, Obama ultimately okayed by using the non-government email to communicate with Clinton. Obama also had an alias along with each of his cabinet members. Therefore, indicting Hillary Clinton would lead to indicting Obama and his cabinet, which would never happen. Remember, he lied about knowing, but that ultimately came out in the dump. Poof. Now, Q pulls an old Q post from the archives, and I think this will give new light to the information about Amanda Rentiera. So Q implies that she knows who all the aliases are that Obama was using. So this is post 1551. IG email investigation, weakest of a set. Open door to Weiner, Hillary Clinton, others, crimes against children, noose. Reference Huber, non-public. Clinton Foundation investigation ongoing, connected. Reference to Huber, plus FBI protection of Hillary Clinton, plus FBI criminal acts. Reference to Huber. What about Department of Justice text emails? Why did the Intel Comrade sections of the IG report at highest level of national security? What does it involve? Department of Justice, White House, tarmac. Reference to Huber, Rod Rosenstein. IG report release does not coincide with the true start date. Info push of Huber. Scope and size biggest in history. Grand jury in place. So let's look at this. The IG email investigation, weakest of set. The three panes Q mentioned before refer to the three different versions of the IG report. The first one, which we've seen being the weakest, open door to Weiner, Hillary Clinton, others, crimes against children. Think back to when the IG report mentioned Weiner's laptop. Basically, crimes against children. That's what he said. Weiner's laptop had Clinton emails and CP on it, but we know these were his insurance files, which means those illegal images didn't come from him necessarily. So the question is, who do they come from? Boom. Reference to Huber, non-public. Clinton Foundation investigation ongoing, connected. Grand Inquisitor Huber's independent investigation is bound to dovetail with the OIG findings at this point and will reveal human rights abuse, child trafficking, sex slavery, and possibly even human sacrifices. And guess what? It was all facilitated by the Clinton Foundation. No one will be able to spin it any other way. The corruption is heinous and systemic. Reference to Huber, plus FBI protection of Hillary Rodham Clinton, plus FBI criminal acts. Huber's investigation will show that the FBI was completely compromised during this time, helped Clinton achieve heinous acts. They knew the whole time and did nothing to stop it. Reference to Huber. What about Department of Justice texts, emails? Why did the Intel.com rate sections of the IG report at highest level of national security? What does it involve? Department of Justice, White House, tarmac. These com sections of the IG report were classified because they were relevant to an ongoing investigation. Huber's investigation will reveal the exact manner in which the Department of Justice and the White House colluded to get Hillary off the hook, and worse, promising Lynch her Supreme Court seat. Reference to Huber, Rod Rosenstein. IG report release does not coincide. True start date. Rosenstein's role in all of this, signing the FISA warrants and editing the IG report, will be confirmed by Huber. And the scope and size, biggest in history. This is huge. The grand jury is in place, and we can see this is where we are moving right now. Now I'm going to move on to post 1554, where it says no name absent and near, and no name we know is McCain, and it looks like he might be making his great escape very, very soon. Post 1555, Q, June 18th, Amanda Renteria. Bridge, Loretta Lynch, Hillary Rodham Clinton. Tarmac, Bill Clinton, Loretta Lynch. Witness, look close behind Bill Clinton. Trusted by Clintons, running for California governor. Who is funding? Who is campaign manager? Risk is high. So who's there on the tarmac? It's Amanda. She was running for governor of California. The funding was coming from Jack Bendheim and Gazelle Cordestini from CrowdPac. Who is Michael Trujillo? Well, he's a Democratic strategist, formerly California Governor Gray Davis. Actor-director Rob Reiner. Secretary Hillary Clinton. So it looks like he worked with Hillary Clinton. And Q says high risk. Well, it looks like they might try to suicide her because she was on the tarmac. She was in certain areas. Knows the aliases. She knows a lot. So keep an eye on her. We're going to see what happens here. And of course, she was freaking out on Twitter, and you can tell that she knows what's going on here. We also see on post 1556, Devin Nunes grabbed the popcorn, and Q says, you asked for the popcorn, let's start here. And as you can see, the pain is coming. More information is going to be coming up. They're gathering all this data, getting the people aligned, having the deep state sweat it out, having them make mistakes, and this is not going to end well for the deep state. As we can see, pain is coming to the deep state.